This one I wanted to look at because I thought it would be interesting due to the headline, which is Street Fighter 6 developers seemingly poke fun at Masahiro Sakurai with latest My Shinui. Is it Shiranui or Shinui? Oh, Shiranui. Yeah, Shiranui. I don't know, my brain always goes to Shinui, but it's really Shiranui. Anyway, as always, Capcom provided an in-depth breakdown of the character over on Steam. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Oh, I think this is gonna be a reference to the Good Boys and Good Girls joint. Bouncing in from SNK's Fatal Fury series, My Shinui promises to be the good girl you dream of when... I figured that. When she comes out on February 5th, referencing the good girl. That's pretty fucking funny. That's pretty fucking funny. I just wanted to look that up. Look at that. My curiosity was uncuriosity. And in conjunction with that, I saw this and I thought, ooh, we got these rumors about another Switch game coming out. Ooh, is it happening again? Are we getting more news about the next Smash game? Is it happening again? I'm here for it. I think it's happening again. Y'all know how I'm about to be. Y'all know how I'm about to be in the cave. Bottle taped to bottle on my leg. Tape. Straw going to my genitalia. Bag straight under my butt. Hole cut in the chair. Sitting there playing the game. Learning the new greatest character. Day after day. Until I can't no more. I'm happy. Anyway, let's read into this article and read about how Super Smash Bros. Ultimate will be 7 years old December 2025. Yes, Hunk, it's been that long. If you can believe it, but I'm still in awe at the sheer amount of stuff that the developers included in this entry. Alongside the endlessly replayable main fighting mode, we got a full-fledged campaign, the return of every fighter that was ever previously included, who you'd ever been in the series, a further 12 DLC characters to pack out with an enormous almost 100, but specifically exactly 82 character roster, and much more. It's the sort of game that could keep you busy forever. In an interview translated by Google and verified by DeepL, Big Old Daddy Sax Masahiro Sakurai talked about the importance of considering a game's volume, noting that he plays other developers' game to the end as often as he can. This helps give an idea of the volume of modern games as well as how satisfying they are to complete. Because yes, what's one thing I think all developers should keep in mind is that the current gaming climate always affects how your game will be perceived. So for example, recent example, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. Was it a bad game? Fuck no. Would I go so far as to say it's legit one of the top 5 games of 2025? Quality wise, top 10 bare minimum? Yes, definitely. I would definitely say that. But in terms of what the market wanted, did the market really want that game? No, because the average Prince of Persia fan is either looking for a Sands of Time remake or a Prince of Persia 4. Yes, that game was good. Yes, that game harkens back to the old story of the story 2, but the old style of the NES and SNES Prince of Persia games. Yes, it does. 100%. But was the mass market that Ubisoft trying to hit asking for that? No, they weren't, in case you need me to say it. And another thing that he's touching on that I think matters a lot is, like he's saying, the volume of the game. Because there's a lot of games out here that people feel like, there's a lot of people out here, let me start by saying this. There's a lot of people that feel like if my game is less than 30 hours, there's not enough content in the game. A game can be 30 hours and be ass. A game could be 10 hours and be ass. I'm a person who looks at it, I prefer short games, but I also prefer a good quality to repetitiveness ratio. Now, what does that mean? I prefer when a game is no more than about 40% doing the same shit over and over, and then 60% either experiencing new mechanics or experiencing new parts of the story and things of that nature. I feel like there's too many games out here that's long for no absolute reason. Like Ubisoft games, for example. Game have 20 hours of valuable gameplay, and the game be 40 hours long, 45 hours long. I be sitting there like, oh God. Ubisoft games is one of the main types of games that really made me develop that policy with myself that if any game that's over 20 hours, you're not getting a chance. I really want the game to be 10 to 15 hours. But any game over 20 hours, I don't care. I don't want to play. I don't care how, oh man, this the greatest game ever, this the best game ever. Yo, bro, this game go hard. Yo, bro, I don't care, bro. Game's 35 hours. I'm not playing 35 hours worth of game. No, I don't care. I just don't give a fuck. Noting that he plays other developers' games to the end. Although you can certainly get an understanding of how a game works from just playing a bit of it, it's not the whole game. Great example, Dragon's Dogma 2. I don't know a single person that played Dragon Dogmas 2. I personally myself didn't beat it, but I've heard so many people say the same shit. At some point, either everybody has the same misconception or they're right. Dragon's Dogma 2 in the beginning of the game apparently is fucking fire, but once you get to that last 2-3 hours of the game, the shit is ass. So the beginning of the game, great. End of the game, bad. And it's an example of why you need to play games all the way through before you fully review them, before you can fully have a say on it. For example, you can't say that Elden Ring is a good or a great game through experience if I check your save file and it says you never beat Millennium. If I check your save file, you download Elden Ring and then you want to play what's the DLC? Shadow of the Erd Tree, but you never beat Mog. Nigga, how do you know Shadow of the Erd Tree is great? You never shot Mog. How do you know, bro? So yeah, I agree with that too. And this is one of the reasons why I say Masahiro Sakurai is a great developer. Because like he really understands what us gamers, he really understands not only what we want, he understands like what we expect out of a good game. Because I was watching a video from Tim Kaine, the dude who made the original Fallout, 2 Fallouts, I think it's Fallout the post-apocalyptic role-playing game is the name of it, but like Fallout 1 and the original Fallout 2. The dude who made those games, I was watching one of his videos because he does video game videos on YouTube pretty often and pretty actively, and one thing he mentioned about how gamers knowing what they do and don't want, because that was the topic of the video, what he mentioned is a lot of what gamers do is say I don't want, and all they're doing is saying what they don't want and never really saying what they do want. And then when you do give them you want, you hear a bunch of people coming out the woodwork saying I don't want that, nobody wants that, but then there's a group of people over here that really do want that. So it's a matter of not only demographics, but it's a matter of understanding your section in that demographic. Because, for example, there may be somebody out there who genuinely just doesn't like black people, who may see my content and like the idea of my content, like my personality, but go, I would watch his content, but only if he wasn't black. And whether you think that is or isn't fair, I'm just using that as an example to say sometimes that's just what happened. You may hear that and you may look at that and be like, bro, that's stupid. Ain't nobody out there like that. There is. There's somebody out there like that. There is. I guarantee you they exist. So yeah, understanding the consumer on not only a level of what your corner likes, but what some similarities in what the general market loves. You can't help but just clap it up for them. A game volume is something that should not be underestimated. Yes, because some games are short but dense. Like I've seen a lot of people complain that it only takes a total of 5 hours to beat Astrobot. I'm not gonna lie, my advice for anybody that's mad that Astrobot only takes 5 hours to beat is use that anger to take yourself to the store, to take yourself to the Amazon shop, the Amazon online store, buy the game. Use that anger to beat the game in that little 5 hours. Tell me you didn't have fun doing it. Use that anger to prove me wrong. Although that's clearly not to ensure that players are just kept busy. Yeah, don't give player busy work. Do your dailies, defend the computer. As he notes that it influences manpower and cost behind it. Yeah, so anytime you waste time putting feature into a game, that costs money that you now have to recoup. It's for this reason that he thinks it's important to be able to show the approximate volume estimate. So, one thing a lot of developers try to keep in mind as best as they can when they're making a game is, okay, nobody gives a fuck how many hours the game is, because there's somebody who likes it, somebody who doesn't like it, right? So if the game is 100 hours, are you having a good 100 hours, or are you just having a 100 hours on this game? For example, I have over 300 hours on Power World. Ask me how many of those are fun, and I'll say 300. If I have 300.5 hours on Power World, I have had fun all 300.5 of those hours. That's what matters when it comes to putting together a game experience. How much of that game experience is fun for the person who has to go through it? The target demographic. Like, to me, the only time a game is objectively trash is when people in their target demographic for the game say, nah, this shit is ass. And when I say target demographic, I don't mean the demographic that you targeted, the demographic that's supposed to like this. So for example, if you make a fighting game for hardcore fighting game enjoyers, and all these hardcore fighting game enjoyers play your game and say this shit is ass, the game sucks, nigga. Important to be able to show the approximate value. We already know that Sakurai is working on his next game, although we don't know what it's going to be. Sure, nigga. Sure, we don't know what Masahiro Sakurai, the nigga has been creating Smash games for literally my entire life, is going to create next. Sure, bud. Sure. Anyway, let's go about talking about Masahiro Sakurai to talking about how the Warhammer company is looking for the next one after big success of Space Marines 2. I want to talk about this because I feel like this is a concept a lot more developers need to keep in mind. Even though this game is big, even though this game did numbers, even though this game went stupid last year, even though this game has a healthy community, that don't mean that that's the end all be all. There's still more work to be done. There's still more to improve on. There's still more stuff to do in general. But the Games Workshop CEO Kevin said in the company's latest earnings report that the video game revenue at the company came from established games and royalty income from the launches of Space Marines and Warhammer 40k Speed Freaks. We recognize that success like these for Warhammer are not given in the world of video games. Let me read that again for the game devs in the back. that didn't hear what he said. We recognize that successes like these for Warhammer are not given in the world of video games. Now, the reason why I'm highlighting that statement is because yes, Warhammer is a very well-known IP where it's one of those things like you'll never know who a Warhammer fan is until you ask them about Warhammer and they show you that they're a Warhammer fan. So when it comes to Warhammer, a lot of their fans, they have a very strong fan base, but their very strong fan base isn't on the level of like a Star Wars, where there's people walking around with Star Wars tattoos on their face and on their arms in very visible spots, and any chance they get, you want to talk about Star Wars? Who shot first? Well, I think such and such shot first. I know that's an old ass argument, but still. Point is, they humble themselves. So like a lot more of these studios and developers need to humble yourselves. Sometimes you're that guy, sometimes you are not that guy. Sometimes reality of it, and this is like just, I'm bringing this up because this is also a general life lesson in humbling yourself. Sometimes you just not that nigga, bro. Some people is just that nigga, some people isn't. Now, does that mean you can't work to be that nigga? No. Look at Warhammer. The last Warhammer game came out, like Warhammer 40k, Space Marines game came out like 10 years ago. So, in that game when it came out, wasn't bad, it didn't flop, it did okay numbers. It was profitable, but it just wasn't like a Gears of War or nothing like that. To where it was a massively profitable franchise that they had to continuously make series for or continuously update or anything like that. Like, nah, it's a regular amount of profitable. It is what it is. But not only that, they humble themselves and they put their heads down, and they work to put Space Marine on that level to where now they could be like, yeah, we got a hit on our hands and we put it out there and it was a hit. Now, moving forward, what do they have to do? Continue to make hits and bangers. Just because you have a hit, that don't mean you could and lean on the wall. Nah, you gotta keep working at it. Space Marines 2 was developed by Saber Interactive and published by blah blah blah, with Game Workshop making money on the game from its collection of royalty fees. In addition to any other, who the fuck is Games Workshop? Because I thought they were like part of working on it. Games Workshop. Oh, they're the company that actually makes the Warhammer figurines. So for those of y'all who don't know, Warhammer first was popular as like a Dungeons and Dragon type situation where it's like people with character sheets and rolling 10-sided die to make moves and decisions, and it has deep lore from the board game of Warhammer. So Games Workshop is are the people who make and own the rights to the board game. Got you. In addition to any other potential business arrangement, the same true is said for Speed Freaks, a combat racing game which was developed by blah 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 blah. And Space Marines quickly sold more than 4 million copies at launch in 2024. And just for those of you who don't understand, in this modern day and age of gaming, 4.5 million copies isn't stupid, but it's really, really good. It isn't like Call of Duty type numbers, but it's pretty freaking good. Space Marines, Steam, and let's see how strong the player base is, even now that the game has came out for a little while, and now that it's had some time to curve off and basically like smooth out. Boom. 6K people on Steam, 9K hour peak from 200,000. Let's see, no, maximum. So they started off with a high peak and they went down over time and they more stabilized. 6,000 people online, that's pretty strong. For a game that comes from a very non-mainstream property like Warhammer, that like I said, there's a strong Warhammer fan base, but you will never know somebody's a Warhammer fan until you ask them if they're a Warhammer fan. For a game that's of that status, that's not that freaking big, still hard to market and make a good game involving that lore and those topics, this is really good numbers. This is really, really good numbers for September to November, December, January. 3 months. Not that bad. Not that fucking bad. And keep in mind that this is just the Steam numbers and console numbers are not included. Now, I have a couple things that I wanted to watch. I don't remember what this... Oh. So, ironic that I pulled this up on TikTok, not even realizing it. For those of y'all watching this, live watching this, near the day of its recording and release, TikTok is on schedule to be banned, removed from app stores, become unupdatable, and eventually decay into unusability on the 19th of January 2025. Currently, it is the 14th, so we have 14 of 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 5 days before TikTok becomes unusable. 5. Right now, we're going to watch a video that is in relation to that.
The United States government has declared Tencent a Chinese military company. Tencent is the parent company of Riot Games. Riot Games services League of Legends and Valorant. Tencent also owns...
Which are two extremely big games. Those are two games that ain't no joke, ain't no slouch. Alright? Now, I know that as a gamer, me and my fellow gaming community niggas, we love to make fun of League of Legends players, call them toxic, call them pieces of shit and all that, and say that nobody with a sane mind plays that game, which are all still things that are true. But don't underestimate the amount of people that don't have a sane mind and that play League of Legends. Valorant as well. Like, let's not underestimate how many people play Valorant.
Owns stake in a lot of other companies. Tencent has a 40% stake in Epic Games. Epic Games is Fortnite. They have a 30% stake in Larian.
So keep in mind, like I'm gonna keep a list, a mental list, all the bangers he listed, all the top money making games. League of Legends. He said Riot, so that's League of Legends, Valorant, Epic Games, Fortnite. Let's keep going.
Studios, which is Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh yeah, Baldur's Gate 3. So that's 4.
The 16% stake in FromSoft.
That's the whole Soul series. So I'll make that 1. And that's Elden Ring. And Elden Ring Night Rain. So technically both of the Elden Ring games, but Night Rain is so different. Technically it's a different game. We'll see when it comes out. But 7. That's 7 high profile, top most played every month games.
Dark Souls, Elden Ring. 11% stake in Ubisoft, which we already don't like Ubisoft.
It don't matter if we like Ubisoft. It's still a lot of people that play Rainbow Six Siege.
Anyways, but still. 5% stake in Activision and Blizzard, which is World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, fucking Crash Bandicoot. But Call of Duty, for you fucking 3 dumbasses that's still on Overwatch. It's another big game Blizzard owns that slipping my mind that I can't think of.
They even own 84.3% of Supercell, which is Clash of Clans. They even own a stake of Discord. This is the world's largest...
Damn, we could lose Discord if this ban goes through. Oof. I'm finna talk to my gamer friends. We off the Slack. We off the TeamSpeak. We out the TeamSpeak.
Largest game publisher. If this TikTok ban is successful and it goes through and the government feels like they did something, they will 1000% come after Tencent next.
The thing about that is the only reason why they even came after TikTok in the first fucking place is because they were getting paid by, I have to say allegedly for legal reasons, but allegedly getting paid by big tech. Big tech paid them niggas to ban TikTok. Come on, let's not be stupid. And on top of that, TikTok spreads information, so they had 2 reasons to kill that shit.
And then the same thing's gonna happen again. They're gonna ask Tencent to divest, try and sell to American buyers, and they're not gonna do that and we potentially lose all of these games. Now, I don't actually think this is going
And Discord.
There's still a lot of ifs and maybes at play, even with the TikTok ban.
Fair.
If this TikTok ban goes through, this could be a really slippery slope.
He's speaking facts. And like most of the reason why I really wanted to bring that up on stream was because when I saw the first 5 seconds of the video, I said, oof. League of Legends niggas. You know how many people play League of Legends in America? A lot. So like I just wanted to clue y'all into that and put that little seed in your mind to really make you think and really make you realize like, yo, there's a lot of companies that control a lot of stuff that you love and you don't even know it. Do your research. BlackRock, Vanguard. What? By the way, just for the record, I was never suicidal. Never had suicidal feelings or intention. Okay. Now, we've been hearing for a while about the crafting of more PlayStation gaming IPs into movies, TV shows, etc. Apparently, one of those things, Until Dawn, just had a trailer drop. And I have been skeptical, scared, shaking, shivering, knees clapping, ready to piss myself at any moment. Scared about how this trailer coming out could affect the game. And I saw some headlines about this game in relation to the game's canon, and I don't like it, man. We're gonna watch the trailer, and then we're gonna go from there.
As a huge fan of the Until Dawn game and how cinematic it was, I thought a lot about how we can continue the story without just giving the audience the same experience that they got when they were playing.
Well, yeah, if you wanted to give us the same experience as while we were playing the game, you would just make a sequel to the game.
The movie has sort of the same tone and the same vibe, but it expands upon the universe.
Okay, so it's not gonna be based on the general canon of the original games. Thank God, because that was my main concern. Now, is this canon? Where does this land in terms of timeline? That's what I need to know out this trailer.
I'm very proud to be part of this evolution onto a screen.
One of the creative things the game did is that people make different choices and die in different ways.
Yeah.
The movie has this mechanic where things start over and they get to try again.
Yeah.
What just happened?
Oh, so it's a time loop movie. Oh, okay. So I heard something about that, and that idea sounds interesting. But it's the thing about time loop movies, right? Is there's a whole cliche of you die, you come back, you got to do things over and over again till you either learn your lesson or figure out what's the way to stop the time loop and break it, and either accept your death or whatever the time loop situation is supposed to be, right? That's a difficult premise to write a good story around, but the idea that he said that it's a mechanic in this movie, I'm hoping that this isn't a movie where I gotta sit there with the controller in my hand or the remote and pick left or right which decision I want to happen. What I hope it is that it's just something that they do in the movie to further push forward the story. And also, I wonder how strict is this time loop going to be? Because movies with time loops can get real stale real fast whenever the time loop is not strict enough or doesn't make sense.
It's like they're in a new horror genre. To survive, they have to make it Until Dawn. I
don't know, from just going off this trailer, What it sounds like they did is it sounds like they made a horror movie and it's loosely based on the actual Until Dawn games, and they pretty much just brought the rights to slap that name on there for brand recognizability, more or less, because like I said, it sounds like it's very, very loosely based on the actual Until Dawn game. But we are not in the 2010s and before anymore. We not in the dimes anymore. Maybe this video game movie will be good. Okay, this. Let me. I might be able to find this on the IGN channel.
As a huge fan of the...
It should be something. Black Slate. Bro. Yeah. SLADE. Okay. We'll just stick with the Twitter one. But earlier in the year, I don't remember if it was at the Game Awards, if it was at one of the Xbox press conferences, or many other gaming ordeals, situations that has been going on. But I remember seeing gameplay, seeing like earlier gameplay for this game and saying it looks like a cool game, but what we saw at the time was alpha footage, and it looks like if they cleaned up some things, that this game could potentially be a banger. Maybe at worst, it looks like this game would be like a Steam sale game. At best, it looks like it could be a day one cop, but I felt like I needed to see more gameplay to really be able to tell what's going on and see what it's worth. So we're here to watch that gameplay, see what they cooking with. Because looking at this game's art style, beautiful. The way that there's a lot of not so much muted tones, but there's a lot of bold colors here and there. Like it. And even this is alpha footage.
Oh, shit.
How that struggle.
Take cover.
Okay. That animation looked a bit janky, but it's cool as fuck. It's like oh my god. This AI is very unresponsive. Like, he shot at the wall, and like any real person would have by then, with like military training to where they need to wear all this in a mansion, would have shot back as soon as he grabbed the gun and had that whole exchange. So I really hope they just turn the AI onto ugly just for the trailer, dog. Just for the trailer. Yeah, because he missed. Like, the AI is good enough to be able to sidestep his shots, but it's not good enough to think maybe after I sidestep, this one could shoot back. I don't know. AI looks unresponsive. Everybody better come rushing in, turning around the corner to have a bang out. What the fuck? Is that trailer magic, or is that a mechanic in the game? This could be an interesting mechanic, but I feel like there would have to be some lore reason behind why this is a thing for it to make sense, and it has to be like a very, not simple, but a very understandable concrete system to this. Because I'm not gonna lie, if every time you open a door it could randomly teleport you into a new location, that doesn't sound fun. But if there's like strict rules and a certain rubric and metric to how this mechanic works, this could actually be kind of cool. It depends though, it depends. It's about to be a boss fight. Hold up, let me see that roll animation again. So I'm gonna see how immersive that animation is.
This will be the final chapter. Pathetic liar.
That animation wasn't that bad. It could be better, but I'm not trying to nitpick. That shit don't look like it's taking no type of damage. And like, you know what? This is alpha footage because my next thing was about to be how am I supposed to be able to tell that that's supposed to take damage? Like all he said is this is the final chapter. Gameplay focus. I don't like how slow that roll is, and I wonder, does it have invincibility frames?
You think I need them for power? Oh, how amusing.
If this slowing down thing is like a mechanic you can do all the time, that's kind of cool. It gives me that Max Payne type of vibe. You know what it is about this too? The way they designed this boss fight looks divine so far. Feels very old school. Like you have one boss in the middle that essentially you can't attack until certain points, and he throws minions and obstacles you gotta run away from and dodge. That feels very old school gamey type of thing, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying that's how it feels watching. Why is he slowing it down randomly at this point? Just inflating on the gameplay trailer joint. Runtime. Does he actually move around the room? Because, I don't know why, this looks kind of boring. Okay, it's a little bit of a cover shooter. I'm still not seeing anything phenomenal. This still looks like a game that will have to have a phenomenal story to really convince me to get it. Like the story has to be 10 out of 10 to convince me to get it. You know, that'd be that. Oh wait, shit! I wanted to make this tier list. Yeah, I'll make that tomorrow. I will definitely make that tomorrow. Happy. Hey, do I want to play a game? Do I want to play a game on? Hell no. But that being said, I'm gonna rat these bitches. You watching on the YouTube? Like, subscribe, all that crazy crackers crap.